Okay, this is an introduction video to the 1981 CB750 build. This bike is the third motorcycle I ever owned. I was in college when I bought this bike, lost it in a bad deal, regained it several years later, and it was not in real great shape when I got it. It hadn't been running for several years. The tank valve petcock is all rusted out, and here's the tank. Petcock was all rusted out. Had to replace it with a used one out of a CB900 tank that we'll have to replace eventually on a later build. This is the 900 tank. It is a little bit wider than the 750 tank, as you can see, and I've contemplated using it because I kind of like the wide tank, and then doing a custom tank on the 900 when I do it. What I planned on doing with this motorcycle was total restoration. Get it back to factory, new paint, and just keep it a restored project. However, I found, because it had been sitting, I was missing a lot of pieces that were going to be very difficult to replace. Side covers with the correct CB750 custom side covers are either very expensive or next to impossible to locate. So, as you can see, it had been dropped on its side at one point and busted up that turn signal marker. Pipes are in pretty decent shape, not great. They will get replaced. I don't know with what yet. Looking at probably doing a 4-into-1 header on the other side, though I do like the balanced exhaust of one on each side, so we may try to do a custom 2-into-1 on each side of it. Here is the factory rear wheel drum brake assembly, as you can see here. And I really wanted a wider tire, and I could stick a wider tire on there, but I'd lose some of the performance aspect because of the sidewall being wrapped around inside so much. So what I'm going to do, I have located bearings to put this back wheel from a 2001 Yamaha R6 on the bike. I have had it lined up there on the OE axle shaft, and I believe that I can make it all line up and fit all right. I will have to massage just the insides of the swing arm here just to give a little bit more clearance for tire, but it should fit pretty well. We removed the battery tray and toolbox assembly. I need to finish cleaning up this wiring. I did re-weld the voltage regulator. Let's see if we can get a picture of that. Re-weld the bracket for the voltage regulator up there out of the way, and then spray painted it black, keep it from rusting again. The battery, we're going to build a custom tray to sit across here to hold this smaller battery in place, to just give it that clean, open look. The airbox assembly we're going to go ahead and trash. Again, I was missing pieces of it. They are easy to replace. The rubber boots between the carburetors and the box, I'm missing one of those. They're not awfully expensive, but I think I'm going to put some cone filters up here and rejet the carburetors. Now, like I said, this bike had been sitting for a number of years. The carburetors actually for a long time sat in a bucket full of water, and I got them pulled all apart, soaked them all, put kits in them, put them back on the bike, took the side cover here off and tried to rotate it by hand, and it was not stuck, but there was a definite rust lip near the top of the cylinders. So I pulled the plugs out, soaked the cylinders, and then worked back and forth until finally it went over by hand real easy. And after I did that, like I said, the petcock's full of rust on the tank, so I just filled the main line full of gas, and it fired right up, idled nice and smooth until the carburetors were empty. So the bike is in mechanically very sound shape, needs to be cleaned up really well. But as you can see, one of the things we started to do, and it needs to be finished, this is just lots of massaging left need to be done. We're going to go ahead and, shape this so it flows nicely into the rear fender, the bottom part. This, of course, was the factory fender, came out to about here, and had holes in it for the big massive tail light, and decided I didn't want that, but I didn't want to bob it. I really didn't. I ride my bike in all weather, and I didn't want to have my back all covered with water if I got into some rain. So I want to keep a fender that's going to keep water off of me. So, and I like the shape of the factory fender. And once we got those holes out, we'll go ahead and we'll finish cleaning up this weld and like I said, clean up this edge so it flows better. And what I'm going to do is put side lights, an individual marker on each side that doubles as a tail light and turn signal, brake light assemblies, similar to what you see on some newer Harley Davidsons. We are also going to go ahead and put a set of drag bars on it. I have gone through the front brakes, so the front brakes work good. But we're going to go ahead and put a shorter set of bars on it. And for this front, because we have a busted marker light up here, we're going to go ahead and take the forks off, rebuild the forks, because the seals, they leaked when I owned it the first time, and the guy who I got it from, he never even put a front tire on it, and this tire was junk when he got it from me, so that's the same tire. He obviously, I'm sure he didn't rebuild the front forks. So we're going to rebuild the front forks and put new marker lights, because these brackets, I can pull the lights up, but the brackets are wrapped around around the fork attached to the triple, so they need to come out to do that. We may keep the factory headlight. I kind of like the look of it. As far as instrumentation goes, we're planning on keeping the factory instrumentation. The speedometer, as you can see, only goes up to 80. And we may try to come up with a newer one that's analog, similar to this, that'll go up higher. The bike is capable of a lot higher speeds than 180. These 750 Hondas were extremely fast in their day. Like I said, we did go through the front brakes. However, we'll probably end up scrapping the front brakes, because once I get the rear wheel put on there and rolling around with chain lined up, I think we're going to go ahead and try to get the R6 front wheel stuck on here. I don't have one of those yet, but a friend of mine who parts out R6s has several that he can't even sell. So toss him a few dollars for that. Like I said, other than that, it's in really good shape. Mechanically, it just needs to be cleaned up real well. We'll show you the other side here. As you can see, that rear wheel is about 5.5 inches wide, where this one here, I think, is only about 2.85 inches wide. So we're going to have a lot more tire on the back. Get around this other side so you can see it. I did start some of the heavy cleaning. I'm not sure that we're going to go ahead and really polish this stuff up. I haven't really decided the direction I'm going to go with the look. I don't know if I'm going to paint it really nice and and then get it all shined up, or if I'm going to just make sure it's mechanically sound, doesn't leak anything, and kind of have a ratty type look. Haven't decided yet. I'm kind of leaning towards the steampunk with some brass and copper touches, and maybe a custom patina tank I have a friend of mine, cousin of mine, who does hydrographics, and he has a hydrographic that simulates rust. So it would be paint, but it would look rusty, which would be really neat. As you can see, their pipes are, you can see there's a burn mark in this one from a rust hole in that. Looks like this side's been patched at one time. This is the rear brake light switch. However, the bracket's going to come out when we make this battery tray across here. And with the new disc brakes on the back, anyway, that we're going to put with the R6 wheel, we will need to go ahead and get rid of this factory rear brake lever anyway, and we'll make a rear brake light work at that point. The R6 axle is a larger diameter than the 750. I could, in theory, hog this out and make the big axle work, but I don't really want to. I think it would look kind of scuzzy, and like I said, the bearings are available. I found a bearing manufacturer who has a website that I can put in the outside dimensions, inside dimensions, and the depth that I need the bearing, and it comes up with bearing numbers that they manufacture that I can order. So it's not a big deal to put new bearings in there to make it work right. What else have we got? I think that's about it for now. Like I said, that this just the introduction video. There has been some work already, and I didn't really intend on making a video when I started working on it, but I thought it might be interesting to do. So if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I look forward to moving forward on this project and getting it ready to ride for spring. I've got more than one project I want to get done before spring, and I'll show you some of those next time. Thank you.